Cancer. Welcome to an early May 2019 spiritual pep talk. And this is kind of like a new reading that I am offering both on YouTube and as a private reading. It's just kind of like a fun thing to do where I'm going to take 3 tarot cards and also an oracle card, and we'll see. I mean, I'm just experimenting here to see how it goes. But if I continue to do this on a monthly basis, it will be picking, maybe using different oracle decks for the oracle message, because I have like a lot of them. This month it's going to be the Native Spirit. It has like a Native American theme to it, and this will be kind of like trying to be an uplifting message that is just dealing with the present time. So it kind of like is a bit different than some of the other tarot readings that I do, where I have different positions and some of them might be the past and stuff. This is more just looking at inspiration and direction for the current time. So let's see how it goes for you. And then I will pick a Native Spirit card. I show people the outside of the cards because it's kind of fun to see the other side. You got offerings. And I read from the booklet for that card because I don't know what the card represents. Okay, so the first card I got is the Two of Wands, and you see how the person is holding the world in his hands. And it's like, do you have a choice to make right now, Cancer? Is there something that, especially if it relates to choosing 2 different careers or choosing whether or not to stay put or go someplace else? And with Wands, we're talking about fire energy. Fire energy is about creativity and passion and playfulness. You know, like kind of like when you're a child and you just were having a good time. So maybe that are the criteria that you need to value and use as your yardstick when deciding what decision to make. Perhaps you're somebody who has been in a situation where you have stayed too long in a particular job or a particular relationship and you're ready to branch out, but there's still something that's keeping you here. If you are thinking about a new profession or even like having your own profession, although that sometimes that's more the entrepreneur is 3 of Wands, but even with 2 of Wands, deciding between 2 different types of profession, I would say that really looking at something that you haven't done before is going to be very important, because with your North Node in your sign, this is like all of the things that you are stepping into to become. So maybe up until this point, you have gone down a certain path and that was good for you in that moment, but perhaps you have to change things up. And we have another card which is also about beginnings, which happens to be the Ace of Cups, and this card connects to beginnings in love, but also in, you know, emotionally. This could be somebody who is you know, like choosing or starting some kind of work endeavor that has a soul connection to it, because we're talking about water. You're a water sign, and the cups are water. And so they call them soulpreneurs or something. I think they have to work on that label, but basically people who are healers or in the healing arts who work for themselves. Something in that vicinity. And I would even include like artists, because that's another kind of a soul-based type of profession as far as I'm concerned. And people that are doing this kind of thing can feel a little bit awkward because the world doesn't really have a template for it. You know, if you want to sell a product, you can get all kinds of advice on that. But it's harder to navigate when you're doing something that is spiritual or artistic, because there are different challenges. You know, like, how can I accept money for something that I'm doing that is of a healing nature? And you know, it makes a lot of sense in some ways, because when you're, you know, what kind of a price do you attach to that? And same with artistic works. It feels almost crass to some people to set a price tag on something that was coming from a very spiritual self-expression. So those kind of things can be grappled with, but it's not impossible to overcome some of the reservations. And actually, the third card I get is a card that is really associated with spirituality, the High Priestess. And this is a card that is passive. It is connected to going within, connecting with your higher self. And this is kind of reiterating the Ace of Cups, about that spiritual direction. Maybe that's what the Two of Wands is all about. It's like, there's a term in yoga called being in the mode of passion. And I would say with the Two of Wands, that could be kind of talking about that passion. And a lot of our world is in that mode where, you know, the drama of the world versus the mode of goodness, the sattvic life, which is a lot less controversial and a lot less, you know, juicy in a kind of a, which I think is a more negative sense, where there's a lot of intrigue and stuff like that, and just living a very pure life. And that means that you are getting away from the noise of the world, and this will allow you also to create better or to intuit better. So if you have that kind of profession, it'll enhance that profession for you. But perhaps you still have a foot in the world that is much more associated with the wands, and you are like attached to something in that life, and you have to make that choice. And once you do, you'll never look back. You know, that's the thing about it, is that you will finally leave that place behind that doesn't really serve you. It may distract you, and that may, for a time, be good enough and be what you need, but eventually you'll have to kind of face whatever has been going on for you and move on. And the other thing, there's something I was thinking about that. I think, I was going to say something. I think it was along the lines of that North Node, though, again, because when you have the North Node in your own sign, transiting in with your sun sign, this can be a time where things are unfolding for you in general in your life. This is a whole new cycle for you with the North Node, and to be able to, well, it's funny, you know, when I say that it's a whole new cycle, I shouldn't really say that, because actually the North Node goes clockwise, which is I would call that backwards, and it's going to go into your 12th house. I don't know. I think it's next year when it goes into Gemini, but I'm not sure when it goes in there. So scratch that. I don't think that's a good way of putting it. But the thing that is true, though, is while it's in your sign, you have to look for the synchronicities. You have to look how your life is aligning in a certain way and go with it. And the more that you can be like the high priestess, the better off you can do that. And it's a very quiet way of being. If you see children, they often notice little details when they're out walking with you, and things that you just completely would have ignored, and they are hyper focused on it. And this is because their state of consciousness is taking in everything, and they're not discriminating and saying, oh, this is unimportant, I'm not going to look at this, I'm going to look at that. And this is one of the greatest benefits of hanging out with a child, is that you can become more like them and learn how to tune in better. So yeah, so that's very interesting. So then we have this card. I'll hold it up one more time, offerings, and I'll read what it says. I know what offerings means, but I want to give the best definition. The universe is grateful for you. You are a gift to the world. Feel gratitude for everything in your life, even the things that don't seem perfect. Appreciation for everything flows through you in great bounty. Cherish the preciousness of life and everyone and everything around you, and thus you will be cherished. And I just want to add to that, because I notice online when people are receiving something, and of course online, it'll usually be like a video or something, and I'm not talking about just me specifically. I'm just talking about in general. It always kind of like strikes me when people almost have this irate response where they feel like they didn't get what they wanted from a particular video. And my first thought goes, if you hold this attitude in life, right at this moment, if that's, as an adult, if that's your level of development thus far, then you really are preparing yourself to be disappointed on a chronic level, that you're constantly experiencing disappointment. And that's really sad, because it shows somebody that doesn't have gratitude, because they can't see how good they have it. And I also notice the people that are always saying thank you in every arena. And I think it's not about being phony and, being a Pollyanna. It's really about, I really believe that those people have gratitude for what they have been given, and that they are showing it every chance they get. And you can even have a lot of personal problems and still do this. You don't have to have like a perfect life to show gratitude. So it's very important to remember this right in this moment. And that's why I'm so glad to do these readings, is that they're really looking at things today. Every native culture throughout history has made offerings, often on a daily basis. Offerings were made to the sun, the earth, the plants and animals, and to everything in creation. The offerings varied culture to culture, but they were always made with a feeling of extreme appreciation for the bounty of life. Gratitude was the secret to a joy-filled life. True thankfulness can work like modern-day alchemy in your life, yielding happiness and peace beyond imagination. And it's simple. Find what's good and wonderful in every moment, no matter what's happening around you. There's always something to be grateful for. That was kind of what I was trying to say. Whatever you appreciate in life will grow. So discover what you're thankful for, even the people and situations you found challenging, and watch miracles unfold. And they give you a suggestion. Make an offering to whatever matures your soul. If you're nurtured by a particular place in nature, for example, you might consider leaving some fruit at the base of a tree for the animals in that area to give thanks for the beauty that is there. And you could even give offerings in money. And it doesn't have to be, that's the thing too, it doesn't have to be something large. A donation where you're kind of like very unobtrusive. Like you're not expecting recognition. You're not expecting anything. You're just giving to something. I feel like that is something that is helpful to the other person, but also it gives you a sense of feeding life. And that's something that I've had to learn. And it's been a great lesson. It's been something that has been very uplifting for me, and not always something that I just naturally did. Some people are naturally generous, whether it be financially or with compliments. And that's an important thing because, if you're stingy with compliments and stingy with, a good nature, that's going to, reflect your inner well-being as well. So just remember that about how you can give to life in a way that nourishes both you and the other person. And I really enjoyed that. This reading I'm offering as a private reading, and I have a special introductory offer below, so you can check that out if you're interested. And I'm just intending for these types of readings to be inspirational. And I really don't have anything like this where I'm just looking at that. I notice when I do any type of reading, I often go very into that, the depth of it. And sometimes you want to keep things a little bit more light and just in the moment. So anyway, have a great beginning of May and take care. Bye.